Okay, this is for Unit 8 of Geometry. The algebra skills that are going with it have to do with polynomials. Day 1 was adding and subtracting or combining polynomials. The Day 2 skills are distributing polynomials. So we're going to go through some different examples of distributing polynomials to go along with what you remember from last year. So example 1, in its most basic form, if I am distributing, I'm taking the number outside the parentheses and multiplying it by each number inside. So this becomes 4 times 2x, which is 8x. And then I do 4 times negative 7. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. And so my final answer as a distributed problem, expanded out, is 8x minus 28. My second example is going to look just like that, but instead I'm going to change it to a 3x squared on the outside of the parentheses and a 4x squared minus 2x minus 5 on the inside. We'll change that to a plus 5. Okay, so I'm still going to distribute the 3x squared to each term. So this means 3x squared times 4x squared. When that happens, we take the coefficients, which are the numbers in front of the variables, 3 times 4, and we multiply those. So 3 times 4, which are called, again, the coefficients, get multiplied to become 12. And then the exponents, x squared times x squared. Properties of exponents say that when you multiply the same base, x times x, you add the exponent. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Another way to think about that is you have 2 x's being multiplied and another 2 x's being multiplied. So you have 4 factors of x being multiplied. So 3x squared. So now I'm ready to move on to the next one. So I had 3x squared times 4x squared is 12x to the 4th. I'm going to do 3x squared times the middle term. So 3x squared times negative 2x. Again, I take my coefficients. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And my x's, x squared times x, this is really an x to the power of 1. So x to the 3rd power. So I have a 12x to the 4th minus 6x to the 3rd. And then the very last one, 3x squared times 5. 3x squared times a positive 5. My coefficients are 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is 15. And then 15 times x squared is just x squared. There's no other numbers to work with there. So that's my final answer. So that's how to distribute with monomials. That's the end of that. That's 3 minutes, I guess. Try to move along here. Another example is what to do with binomials. So I'll give you an example. 4x minus 2 times 2x plus 7. A binomial is 2 terms times a binomial is 2 terms. And I'll show you a couple different ways to do that. What this really means is that you're going to need to take this 4x, the first term, and multiply it by both of these. And so you can actually write that out, 4x times 2x plus 7. And you're also going to take the second number, negative 2, and multiply it by both of these. And so you can write that out, negative 2 times 2x plus 7. And then do all your normal distributing. So 4x times 2x is 8x squared. And 4x times 7 is 28x. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. And negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. These middle two numbers are like terms, so they can be combined. So in the beginning, I have an 8x squared. My numbers in the middle have the same variable, just an x. So 28x minus 4x is positive 24x. 28 minus 4 is 24. And then my constant is a negative 14. Example 4, I'm going to go through really quickly, kind of use the same one, 4x minus 2 and 2x plus 7. So this is kind of example 3 again. 4x, we said minus 2, and 2x plus 7. Another way to organize your thinking is to just draw more arrows. So 4x times 2 gives you 8x. 4x times 7 gives you 28x. And I realized that my first one should have been a squared, 8x squared plus 28x. Then I do the negative 2 times 2x, so minus 4x, and negative 2 times the 7 is negative 14. I'm not going to do the last step because you can go back and look at the previous one. I still had 8x squared plus 28x minus 4x minus 14, so it gives you the same thing. If your second parentheses has 3 terms in it instead of 2 terms, you can still do the same strategy. And the last thing I want to show you, for example 4, is what do I do if I have a number squared? A lot of students make mistakes when they see a parentheses squared. A lot of students want to take that squared and kind of distribute it and just make it 9x squared and make it a positive 4 from squaring both of those terms. So that's not how this works. You need to remember to rewrite this until you can just do that in your head. So rewriting it means that I have 3x minus 2 times 3x minus 2, because that's what the squared means. It means to take that number that's being squared, so in this case the parentheses, and multiply it by itself. And then I can use one of my strategies, like 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. So I took the first term and multiplied it by both in the second parentheses. Then I take the second term and multiply it by both in the parentheses. Negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. This becomes 9x squared. I have my positive 4 at the end. And then these two combine to negative 12x. And there's a pattern there. The pattern is that the first number, 3x, the first number is always going to be squared, so it turns into 9x squared. The last number, negative 2, is squared. That turns into 4. And the middle number comes from taking both of these multiplied together. That happened with my red arrow and my green arrow. And because it happened twice, we take both of those multiplied together, negative 6x, and double it to get negative 12x. So that's all the skills you need for day 2.